Static field also makes a great CC when you've got an enemy Zerg coming in, especially if they're coming in through a tight choke point. You can drop static field on them, and they won't be able to get past, or at least they'll get stunned for a second too. Here's something else I like to do with static field. If you can put someone in or around static field, and then you can use number 3, and if they're not in static field, you can actually knock them into it in order to get that stun. Yeah, like that. And that's great, especially if you get, try to get, let's say you're running somewhere and a thief comes out of nowhere and tries to backstab you, and you pop something to stop them, stability or mist form if you're carrying it or something like that. Static field them and knock them into it. Or even better yet, static field them, let them hit it once, and then knock them back into it. Alright, here's something else that's kind of fun too. A lot of times, you ever been in game, you're casting meteor shower or something, and somebody comes over and knocks you down, and it screws up your cast? Ever happened to anyone?
Yeah.
Alright, let me show you guys another trick real quick after I gotta get out of combat so I can switch skills.
Replenishing.
Meteor shower at 1200 range, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm way back over here and I'm gonna start casting meteor shower.
Delisla joined the server.
See, my meteor shower falls, and while I'm still casting, I can lightning flash even farther away, and it's going to keep hitting. Any of your skills that are cast times, like meteor shower or a healing rain, you can do that while it's
Milos
casting.
green room on the server.
So what I'll do, if I'm backline and dropping meteor shower and I see a thief coming up on me to knock me down, or a warrior, you don't even have to cast far or lightning flash somewhere far away. Like, I'll just drop it right here on us standing here. And then lightning flash over somewhere else, and they don't know where I went. So that's kind of a neat little gimme too. So I'm assuming you guys already talked about lightning flash with churning earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing. Anything that you've got a cast time on, you can lightning flash on. Yeah, exactly. First goal.
Delisla left to a channel and switched to PvE lobby on the server.
Alright, let me think what else. While we're talking staff, let me talk a little bit about traits too, just because we're here, and then maybe we can quickly run over our idea on traits for Dagger and Scepter Dagger quickly, as well as utility skills, just quick. Again, the idea is trying to make everything work together. When I'm running staff, I'm going to put 10 in air for quick glyphs, because I'm going to run these. I also run these guys. That gives me my blast finisher, that gives me the ability to GTFO if I need to with lightning flash, and then I've got pretty quick glyphs running down for sandstorm, which I showed you guys earlier. The blind right there. Whatever attunement you're in, you're going to get a benefit from it. I like to use sandstorm, like I said, after my healing blast that I run through. So what we started doing after you guys that were in the first class, and then we went and did some World v World stuff, what we started doing is when you've got things like Healing Rain, you've got things like Static Field, you've got things like Ring of Fire, what I want to see you guys doing is hollering out those combo fields in TeamSpeak regularly, especially if we're in a pretty solid fight. You know, if we're in a 10 on 10, 20 on 20, 30 on 30 fight, call them out in TeamSpeak as you cast them so that we're not doubling up on stuff. Like, I'd love to see Healing Rain. If we've got 3 or 4 Ellie's, I'd love to see Healing Rain falling all the time. And the only way we can do that is if we're coordinating by me going, just clicking my push to talk and saying rain. Wait 5 seconds, and then the next person who has it on cooldown, push to talk and just say rain quickly in TeamSpeak. We don't need to bog down TeamSpeak, but to know what's out there can be really beneficial. Exactly, Vanjie. Yeah, that's the idea why we're putting the group together, and some of the other classes are going to start doing the same.
Replenishing. That makes sense.
Turbulence. Hear me.
And what's the maximum stack that you can get from any one skill?
How do you mean?
Start.
25?
Oh, stack 25, yeah.
Okay.
So if we're in a group, World v World, I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of people running Dagger in World v World, because there's nothing a Dagger Ellie can do for the group that a Staff Ellie and a Scepter Dagger Ellie can do better. Except for the Aura Share, but it's very easy with a few blast finishers to get the healing up, to get the Swift up much better just in Static Field. So what I'd like to see people doing is get very used to Scepter Dagger and Staff. And that way, if we've got 6, 8, 10 Ellies, even 3 or 4 Ellies running in the party, we're mixing it up. If we've got 6 or 8, we've got half Staff, half Scepter Daggers. Where if Imperius and I are both on, obviously he's going to be running Scepter Dagger because he's quick and much better at that than I am. And I'll be running Staff because Imperius is dumb and hasn't figured out how amazing Staff is yet. So, but no, you definitely need both, and that's actually the reason why, as the commanders and captains and leaders on our guild, we decided to start doing this class by class, because 2 Ellies working together is going to be substantially more beneficial than 2 Ellies that don't know how to work together. So if we're doing things like calling out Ring, calling out Staff, or excuse me, calling out Rain, so on and so forth. Yeah, that's actually perfect, what Imperius just posted right there. Because Aura Share is nice, because there's a lot more that a Dagger can give besides swiftness, you know. There's Fury, there's protection, so on and so forth. So there are some nice things that a Dagger can do, plus they just piss people off. Getting right in the thick of things and jumping around and knocking people down and so on and so forth. So, let's see here. Well, let's talk a little bit about traits, just while we're in Staff. Definitely read through my post, but my post, the idea is making sure everything works together. So, if you're running Staff, I encourage you guys to bring 10 in air.
Behold the ocean's power.
And trait read quick glyphs, because that's going to give you a 20% diminished recharge on your heal glyph, your glyph of storms, and your elemental glyph, which I want to see people running water elemental for the extra heal. I also encourage you to run 30 in water. Not for aura share. Excuse me, yes, for aura share. And the reason for that is, again, even though we've only got one aura to share, which is that guy, Magnetic Aura, in order to get that guy up there on your team, you know, especially if your team's taking a beating and you can jump in and drop
DFND
that
huge
healing
left
bomb,
channel and switch to
reflect
World World lobby
projectiles,
on the
and then
server.
use Sandstorm to blind everybody. That's 5 or 10 seconds right there. That's going to save a lot of people and could really turn the tide of thing. If you're running staff and you're not running an arcane trait 8, which is blasting staff, you're dumb. Because why wouldn't you want larger fields? And then, of course, even though we don't have a ton of might stack options like a Scepter Dagger or even Dagger would have, I still run Evasive Arcana because you live and die by your blast finishers as an Ellie, and the more you can learn how to balance those out, the better. So those are the couple things that I think are mandatory. Other than that, it's really what you like. I like the extra condition removal from the other water traits. Just personal preference.
Replenishing.
Any questions?
Alright. Well, Imperius, you want to run through your traits on Scepter Dagger real quick? Because I gotta tell you, ever since you posted that, I haven't found anything better than that thus far. You're 15-0-0, 25-30. Are you still running that?
Yeah, when I go Scepter Dagger, that's what I run still. Alright, so when I run Scepter Dagger, I don't try to max out my damage, I don't try to max out my healing, I don't try to max any of that out. It's all about the might stacks. Everything I do, that's all you hear me talk about is my might stacks. So, fire traits. I go 15 in for the sunspot, which is AoE damage on my location every single time I go to fire, and fire is going to be your bread and butter. You're always going to go to fire for everything.
So are you using Ember's Might as your first major?
No, I'm using Spellslinger because I run 2 cantrips.
Okay.
I run Internal Fire because I don't run cantrips, just if anyone cares, but they're pretty vital, especially for the amount of time you're going to be in melee range with Scepter Daggers, so I definitely start with Imperius's suggestions, and if you decide to move away from it, great. If not, Spellslinger, that gives you those extra 6 stacks, which is pretty substantial.
And then air, I don't touch it when I'm using Scepter Dagger. I don't touch earth. I go 25 in the water. Basically because I get the 2% more damage for each boon on you. And I run 25 stacks at all times. 25 stacks of might times 2, you got 50% more damage just from your might stacks, you know.
So what was your first major?
My first major is Cleansing Wave. Remove a condition from you and all allies when you attune to water. It's just less damage you're going to be taking. I run that on everything I run, whether I run Staff, Dagger, Scepter Dagger, whatever. And then my Master trait, Cantrip Mastery is alright if you're in like a dungeon. But my main recommendation is the Arcane Abatement. Especially if you're in World vs. World. I will not go in World vs. World anymore without that trait.
Yeah, actually, let me run up here real quick and show what Arcane Abatement does. See that heavy golem right there running around in a circle? Just keep an eye on him, and I'll show you what Arcane Abatement can do. I'll be right back.